everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of UruLive. Last episode, we started exploring through Gahreesen. Happened to find a fair number of things. But there's still more we need to explore. We found most of the tapestries, but we still need to find more. Instead of having to go through the whole place, let's take this and go back to where we need to go. Back in the middle here. Looks like we'll need to wait for that to come around, so let's do so. I wonder what else we'll find in the other 3 rooms we haven't explored yet. Probably at least one of the other 2 tapestries. Although now that I think about it, there were doors that we could access from the prison cell. We just couldn't go through them. Now that we have the Kai, perhaps we can. We'll have to visit up there again. Just gotta wait for this to come through. Come on, you can make it. Almost. And made it. And I do very much like the music here outside in Gahreesen. It's very nice. This age is actually a very nice age. Teledon is pretty in its own right, very alien, but I'm kind of unsure about all the fungus. This age, it's got a lot of structure to it, and there's a lot of security to it. I do wonder why. There is that wall thing in the middle, but what's the purpose of it? There's prison cells up top, yes. So, then again, considering it was called Gahreesen, which sounds a lot like Garrison, is this a military installation? Possible. Especially with all the security here. Oh! Okay, there's something here. Can't seem to do anything with it, though. This is actually a different color, now that I look at it. Doesn't look like I could do anything else. Perhaps we actually, due to the rotating, managed to reach the other room. Yeah, this is definitely green instead of blue. As for this... You know, I will actually say right now, I do remember, when I played the original Uru, this was actually a thing. Back when the original was played, something that could be done was a person could effectively walk into this particular device here, and when they did, this would come down and put this suit on them. They'd then get shot down through that hole in the ground and end up inside that large room out there. The one you can see out here. From there, they could run forward and go over to... You can kind of see that ladder right over here. And then they'd be able to climb upwards, I guess? And this structure here allowed someone to, well, basically do things with the, with this wall here. But I don't remember what. It may have been some sort of game or contest, especially since there's like 2 mirroring rooms. Like, that's a locker room, this is a control room, and I guess that room over there, the 3rd one, was for people to watch. Unfortunately, it looks like UruLive, they didn't actually activate that. So, sadly, that can't happen again. Alright, let's move on to the other room over here. So what have we got in this room? Ah, there's another tapestry and another book. Nothing on that chair. This is tapestry number... what? 6. So there's one more tapestry somewhere. What is this book? This book is... title Gahreesen. Simpson, don't mention anything about the upper area of the fortress in your Gahreesen report. I don't want people wandering all over Teledon looking for that weird link stone. Sharper. Interesting. So there really was no way to get up there without that stone. Interesting. Well, we should probably read this. Author Simpson, transcribed from voice recorder. Age Gahreesen.
Okay. One thing seems immediately obvious. This place was built for security. No one could write a link anywhere at this place, or the next. It was obviously a maintainer facility of some kind, and it doesn't seem that it was for general guild members. By that, I mean it was limited to at least the higher-ranking members. As to how they got the first link written here, I don't know. Probably while it was under construction. It does seem pretty obvious that it's not going to happen again, unless something major happens to this place. I should say that Kodama has some theories about the age that have held up so far. May have been a special forces of a sort for the maintainers. Started later, mid-8000s. Became somewhat of a research and development arm for the Maintainers Guild. I don't know. Worth mentioning, though. There are quite a few mentions of such groups in other docs Kodama has found, or at least seen. To begin with, I'd wager that no one other than a high-ranking government official or similar ever even made it to this room. That's just my guess, but it seems pretty sound. I don't think any school buddies or girlfriends dropped by to see their maintainer friend. The linking book we found was deep within the Maintainer Guild. I'm sure it was well guarded in its day. You can see right off the bat the entrance was extremely secure. Thick walls, one door, a high window, sniper, maybe. If you manage to get in with a bomb or something, it's not going to do any noticeable damage. I love the Maintainer symbol on the floor, and everywhere else you look, as though I might forget and wonder where I am. So, visitors are escorted into this little waiting room. There's a window on one side, looks almost like a ticket window. Maybe turn in weapons or goods that aren't allowed. Maybe books. I'm sure they didn't want books in here. Yeah, looks like mainly for books. There is another ticket window on the other side, although this one looks different. I'm pretty sure those are beetle cages on the other side. Beetles that sought out ink. Somebody was just telling me there are all kinds of references to them in other docs. You didn't make it past this room with a book. As well, the doors never open at the same time. So, even if somehow you make it out of the entrance room, you're still not going to make it past these mammoth doors out of the waiting area. Looks like the hall ran along the entire circumference of the building. There are plenty of rooms. I'll just try to hit them one at a time. First is an elevator, though. However, looks like it's only down. Wonder if it was always that way. More security, I guess. Once you've made it into the halls, there is still nowhere to go, at least if they didn't want you going anywhere. I would think that any books that were brought to the age were kept in the lockers. I'd imagine that some of the workers here, or frequent visitors, also kept some equipment, but I could be wrong on that. Looks like they kept some maintainer gear as well. Markers, helmets, etc. Seems a little out of place, honestly. Okay, things are becoming a little more clear now. Just had a long chat with Laxman and researched some different docks over in the city that Nick had. Looks like the current condition I'm seeing was not the original condition. The KI was a major development, not just for the guild, but also apparently for all citizens. Turns out, they were just starting to hand out the KIs to the public around the time of the fall. Nice timing. So it looks like they had done some renovations in order to facilitate the mass amounts of visitors that would be coming in order to retrieve KIs. Turns out my little girlfriend analogy was pretty much completely wrong. Girlfriends and more were going to start coming here, at least to the open sections. Kodama corrected me. We've actually found multiple books in neighborhoods, as well as the guarded maintainer book I mentioned earlier. Whoops. So, visitors come in, walk through the doors, beetles check for books, and they walk down the hall into the KI room. Get a KI and link out. Guards were probably at the up elevator, which is just behind this room. If they did happen to bring any illegal items, they get them back from the other side of the locker room, and off they go back home with their new shiny KI. Makes more sense as to why the maintainer paraphernalia was in the locker rooms too. Probably a little display type thing for all the visitors. Impress them. Quite a bit of goodies in here, all of which I'm sure most visitors never saw. Pretty bad cave-in from the floor above, although Engberg says structurally the place seems alright. He's doing more detailed inspections soon. Looks like most of these crates are filled with KI maintenance type equipment, as well as a variety of spare parts, etc. I don't know. Laxman will have to give this place a good inspection. I'm sure he'll love going through it all. Beyond me, I know that. Convenient cave-in. Not sure how one is supposed to get in the beetle cages without it. No idea how they did it. Link, maybe. Regardless, pretty positive the cages were for beetles. Symbols on the front, and quite a bit of remnants in some of the dirtier cages. We'll have to clean those up. Wonder when they all died. Speaking of access, another question. How'd they get to the second floor? Elevators skip the middle floor. More security, I suppose. Destruction was a little more substantial than I thought. Looks like it tore out a section of the outer wall, even. I'm going to get out of here until Engberg can come back again. Been a few days, but I'm back. I'm no expert, so I guess I have to trust Engberg. But he says this whole thing is one of the most solid, heavy pieces of construction he's ever seen. It's safe, he assures me. If I die here, and someone retrieves this recording, please sue him for me. Second floor looks similar to the first. Outer hall and a number of rooms. Have to remember that very few people probably ever walk these halls. There is no access via elevators, stairs, anything to get here. I assume it had to be done via a linking book, which is probably somewhere in the city. I suppose there could be a way to stop those elevators on the middle floor, but I doubt it. Regardless, this floor was extremely secure. Book access only, I'm guessing. Next to the observation room, at least that's what I assume it was, is what looks like a guard lounge. Looks like they stayed here for long amounts of time. There are beds in here, as well couches. I assume these guys manned the window observation post while visitors were coming in. More lockers, similar to the set downstairs, although these are manned with some heavy equipment. I'm sure Watson will want to see this stuff and keep it locked up well. In fact, I'm not even going to go into detail about it here. Laxman can write all about this stuff in a later report. I will say that I didn't know the Dunny had these kinds of technology. Now I see why this floor was so secure. Looks like the whole power structure for this building is here. Amazing construction. The entire building looks to have been powered by some underground water source that caused it to turn. They implemented a gear that would grab onto teeth in the ground outside and provide them a power source as well. Talk about killing two giant birds with one stone. Pretty amazing. Power looks somewhat complicated. Seems as though there were at least occasions that power was turned off, as there are obviously controls to do that, and then start it again. I'm heading to the top. Wow. I thought this building was big. The main portion is absolutely giant, and rotating too, of course. I'm overcome with the amount of work put into this place just for security. It's everywhere. Almost comical picturing government officials walking the same paths I am. Amazing. To get to the other side, looks like one had to walk across the bridge to the rock pinnacle. The first place since we've arrived that we're able to save a link. And it's not big. And there's a massive structure facing you if you did. Pretty funny to try and picture an army invading, all of them bunched up on this stone waiting for these bridges to rotate. What the? My goodness. The creatures. These things are something out of a horror movie. I've been up here a little while and I don't see them often, but when I do, they are scaring me to death. I'm beginning to understand the fences and structures a little better. Perhaps some of them were designed to keep creatures out more than keep visitors in. Don't hang out in these woods unless you have a big gun. Another bridge to reach the main portion of this place. More security. I will say that the platform between the bridges seems to have eroded. At one time, crossing the bridges was probably a security feature to ensure manageable groups would approach the larger building one at a time, but I would wager it was still a lot easier than it is now. The erosion to the platform between the bridges has made it a little rougher. I suppose the maintainers would like it even more in its current condition. I'm not sure what to call these things, but they remind me of mudrooms, so I'll call them that. Not much here. Looks like each bridge had a mudroom attached to it, with another group of doors, etc. There doesn't seem to be any kind of decompression or decontamination that went on here. Really, they seem to be nothing more than another spot for another set of doors, another secure location. I was going to go through each of the rooms here, but after making a quick overview, I think I'll just start with the entire thing. There are 3 types of rooms in the building, 2 of each kind. There is a control room, 1 purple and 1 yellow, a display room, 1 purple and 1 yellow, and then a conference room. Though these aren't colored, I assume there is one for each team. The entire building seems to be centered on the massive wall in the middle. The control rooms control the wall. The display rooms display the uniforms that were worn in the wall, I presume. And the conference rooms allow the government visitors and high-ranking officials to confer about those training on the wall. See. So control rooms first. I'm not going to go into controls for the wall in this dock. I'll let Laxman do that at some other time. Regardless, the panel here obviously controls the wall. The wall was used for training, as well as testing of various suits. I believe the central room can get pretty hot, cold, smoky, or anything else I can imagine, pretty quick. It was a competition. Whoever could get to the top the quickest. Teams would set up the obstacles, and members would race. There is a side tunnel that provides access to the display rooms from the control room. Not sure that these were originally the display rooms, or maybe they were. Either way, there are quite a few old maintainer suits in here. There is also the latest maintainer suit, or skin, here. I guess I should say the machine to put on the latest maintainer suit is here. Now that we've had some time to look at this, it's incredible. We're talking about a suit that was skin tight, and had linking abilities, etc., built in. Very high tech as far as maintainer suits go. Very impressive. A maintainer would fall down the chute, and while traveling to the interior room, the wall, the suit would be placed on him. I'm begging to try this thing, but DRC is insistent no one does. Laxman already has someone on it, trying to figure out more. I'm first when they do. I think these rooms could basically be described as team locker rooms. Well, I guess these rooms were where the bigwigs sat down and talked about their maintainers. Obviously, they are set up to watch the wall, and there are displays that show the patterns being built and played on the wall. We'll never know, but I can see the guildmasters in here watching their teams compete, preparing to send them out to some radioactive fireball age to see if their new suits can stand the elements. I'm not going up now, but we do know the upper portions were used as prison cells. Typical Dunny technology. They had a single linking book that went to all the cells. Since the building was always rotating, a very complicated linking apparatus and timing mechanism was associated with the book. The timing of the link would determine which cell the person linked into. Apparently, it was very tight. Speaking of linking, this entire building is rotating as well. It seems that most visitors came on the path from the well, although there were also books directly to this building. There had to be. It seems that many of them also used the timing mechanism to link into specific rooms. Looks like another new feature designed and built by these guys. One of many, I'm sure. I'm just wondering where the main research labs were. Or better yet, where did everyone sleep? Or eat?
So that was interesting. Seems like the entire purpose of the structure was not just security, but a mixture of imprisonment up above, and down here, effectively testing for what R&D they happened to do. Those suits that they had. I do remember that there is a purpose for them. After all, when you create a link to a new age, you don't really know what the age is or what it's going to be like. From what I remember, these suits were basically meant to be super strong environment suits that would be able to survive, well, just about anything. A lack of breathable air, a toxic environment, issues with gravity, issues with air pressure, all that sort of stuff. Environment suits to survive in anything. So this structure was probably meant specifically to test out new versions of the suits, to make sure they were all better and the like. Which makes sense. You have over there, right over here, this is where they would throw various sorts of effects onto the wall for the suit, which was worn in the other room, to test, to try out and make sure that it could survive. And This conference room here was for, well, people to display. Here, take a look at what we've done. See, it is perfectly safe and survivable. The reason for two of them, however, I'm guessing maybe that was for competing groups to go in and deal with. It's possible. That said, that seems to be everything down here. The only other place we can go now, well, we'll have to go back upstairs. And for that, we need to go back to Relto. And there's another one of those sparkly things. What is its purpose? I'm sure we'll find out eventually. Either way, there isn't really anything else we can do down here, so... yeah, this is a strange device. I have no idea what the purpose of that is. Never could figure it out. Anyway, with nothing else to do... actually, this episode's gone on long enough, so I'm going to link back to my Relto. And next episode, we're going to go up to the top of Gahreesen and look around. See what else we can see. And hopefully find the last tapestry. Till then, I'm Chester44. This has been a Let's Play of UruLive, and I shall see you all next time.